Hey guys, hope all is well. It's your boy Mark, principal broker, co-owner of the Great Homes ATL. Hope you guys are doing well. Wanted to do a video and maybe some videos for you to jump off 2022. I'm not big into resolutions. We tend to not set really attainable goals. I just lived my life basically waking up every day, trying to do better than I did the day before. Always treat people with love and kindness, and hopefully be an inspiration so that you guys aspire to be just better people. And of course, we're in the business of home ownership, so helping you with that as well. So I want to start off 2022 for anybody that has been following us for a while, and trust me, there's a ton of new people that have begun following us, and we thank you for that. Still boggles my mind, how much love we get and support that we get, and we couldn't do it without you. So why has Great Homes ATL become so successful and synonymous with Greater Atlanta real estate? I think because we give it to you real, we give it to you inspirationally, we give you education and techniques and the support system to actually make it a reality. So as we jump into 2022, I just wanted to provide you, some inspiration, some information of, how we can go about doing business together, being a part of the family, and giving you some kind of overall guidelines. So when we started Great Homes ATL back in 2014, that's when we created like the Instagram handle, the Facebook handle, and then we created, after I passed the broker exam in 2019, we officially opened Great Homes ATL as a brokerage firm. It was no longer just a Great Homes ATL team. It was actually our brokerage firm. And since then, Curt has also gotten his broker license. So he is the managing broker of Great Homes ATL. And if you guys have been following us, whether it's just recently or over the last few years, here in, last year now, I guess, 2021, we brought in the wonderful Hope Shivers. And so we are a 3-team real estate brokerage firm. And I cannot tell you where, when we sat down together as a team and where Curt and I are always having, discussions on where we want to take it. I think there's going to be tremendous growth opportunity over the next few years, hopefully over the next few decades. And we can only do that with you guys, your continued support and tuning in and sharing with family and friends. So we definitely have a lot more in store for you. Now, just some advice, again, I'm not a big New Year's resolutions person. I believe, again, every single day you try to, if you made some mistakes the day before, if you didn't treat people as kind as you did the day before, you have a way to do that by just waking up every day, God willing, and trying to do better. And it's the same thing with your finances and in real estate. So my overall message to you is we are not just a real estate brokerage firm. We're not just real estate brokers and agents. We are entrepreneurs, right? And so I encourage you all, whether you're working in corporate America or whatever you're doing, is find your passion. Find that one thing or two things that you really aspire to be. And that's truly how our story formulated and how we've grown. I've held my real estate license since 2003. Sometimes I did things with it, sometimes I didn't. When corporate America, I guess, involuntary, it was not my decision at the time, I got laid off. I was forced to decide what I had a passion for, and that became real estate. I always had an interest in it. I always loved people. If you notice, and I'm sure from watching my Mark's home tours videos, and then you see the interaction between Curt and Hope and myself, is I am, in general, a very much people person. So this industry allows me to play on my strengths. I have a business and marketing background, a managerial background, and obviously a real estate background. Going on now 19 years having my license. So, and I absolutely love Atlanta, Greater Atlanta. I come from Connecticut. I came from up north and went to college in Massachusetts. Grew up in Connecticut, like I said, and becoming a young adult through basically Atlanta, really to me made me transition from an adolescent to college years, where you maybe are maybe not the most responsible, to coming to a big city for me, which was Atlanta. And the city has embraced me, and it was only through the people I met, the hard work I put in, and the real life on the streets education, meaning getting out there, meeting people, meeting businesses, and loving the industry that I'm in. So my first message is to you, whether you're in corporate America, if you love that and you want to work your way up the ladder, go for it. Let people know that you want to work your way up the ladder. Let them know what you want to do. If you are kind of hemming and hawing on what you want to do, try something different. Whether you cook well, whether you clean well, whether you're good at building websites, whether you're good at cutting hair, whether you're good at makeup, whatever the situation that you feel great about and you have a talent for, try it as, a part-time job, a side hustle, all that kind of stuff. So my message overall is, in 2022 and beyond, if doesn't matter if it's June 1st of 2022 or January 3rd or 4th of 2022, every day you wake up, if you're not happy and you want to see yourself go further, tap into that. Number two, as we transition into the real estate message, is that I always have emphasized this since 2014. Real estate is not a right. It's a privilege. It's a privilege for people that truly, truly aspire to become a homeowner. Let's face it, guys. Unless you are planning from birth till death, living with your parents, in-laws, people you're associated with, and never having to make a payment on rent or home ownership, then that's not feasible. A majority of us, I would say 95 to 98%, there are people that do, that, live in one household and it's passed down from generation to generation, which is fine. But a majority of us want to make a life for ourselves. We want to travel. We want to meet people. We want to possibly have children. We want to get married. We want to do all these things. We want to, make a life for ourselves. And when you do that, you need a roof over your head, right? So the decision has to become, do I want to pay rent, which lines the pockets of a landlord? And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing if you're the landlord, right? And that's what you want to strive to be. Or if you want to take advantage of home ownership. So let's just talk a little bit about what the benefits of home ownership are. Number one, every time you make a mortgage payment, you are paying down the principal of that mortgage. So as long as your house value is not going down in correlation over a 30-year period, if you're doing a 30-year mortgage, or 15-year period and a 15-year mortgage, historically, real estate has been the best tool to create wealth in this country. Why? If the value of your home just remained the same over all those years, and you paid rent for 30 years compared to paying a mortgage for 30 years, at the end of that 30 years, you have created a vehicle now of ownership, which means that when you've paid off that mortgage, that is what your net worth is. So if you, at the end of that 30 years, that house is worth 500,000, 300,000, $1 million, that is what your net worth is. If you just were handing that money over to a landlord, or you're paying a family member to stay with you, you have nothing at the end of that term to show that you have any type of wealth, to you. Now, realistically, this generation and future generations, I don't see people staying in a home for 30 years. So the question is, do you still recommend buying a home in that situation? Absolutely, because there's other benefits to home ownership. Number one, there's tons of tax write-offs, meaning property taxes, the interest you pay on it, and itemize the deductions. If you start a business out of your home, there's so many. Just talk to a tax advisor and they could break down for you every single benefit of home ownership. Number two, if you don't hold on to that home, meaning like you sell it after 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, if there is a gap between what you owe on the house, which is the principal payoff, and what the home is worth, you get to keep that whole profit. You do not share that with the bank. You do not give that to anybody else. And actually, if you have lived in a house 2 out of the last 5 years, and if you're single, up to $250,000 profit could be realized without having to pay any kind of capital gains taxes, and $500,000 if you're a married couple. Think about how life-changing that money can be for you. And the third situation is you hold on to that property, which means what happens? You move on to get another property because your life situation changed. Maybe you had a job transfer. Maybe you're living now overseas. Maybe, you're a military family, whatever the case may be. You are still the home owner of that house as long as you're making the mortgage payments. If you don't make your mortgage payments, obviously the house goes into foreclosure. But what happens in that situation? You find individuals to pay your mortgage. How do you do that? By becoming a landlord. So that house that you first purchased now becomes your number one investment property, your number one vehicle. Every time that mortgage is paid, that principal goes down. If that value of that house continues to go up, which if you look historically, somebody that bought a house in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, pretty good chance. I would say probably 100% chance that that value of that house in today's, when we're sitting in 2022, is worth more than it was in 2021, than it was in 1980, that it was in 1995. So, whatever year you choose, it is an appreciating asset as long as you keep it up and maintain it. The difference is, are you willing to put in the work? Again, I talked about privilege or a right. And it is definitely a privilege, because if it was a right, they would just be giving out homes. They wouldn't even have to qualify for a home. You have to pay your bills on time, have an excellent credit score, take care of any debt that's outstanding, and then have the income, whether that's through 1099, through 2 years of filed tax returns, or W-2 with a couple pay stubs, as long as it's in the same industry. And if it's not enough money for you, that's up to you to get the second job, the third job, to go back to school for or a certification that's going to give you more money, to be tapped into that entrepreneur spirit, how we talked about at the beginning of this video. So you guys have to follow every single step that we post in every one of our posts. Get pre-approved. Know where you stand. Secure us as your agents to help guide you once you have your pre-approval and know how much you want to spend. And then you don't have to look any further. Through the life of your real estate life and just through friendship, you have us to help you every single step of the way. And we hope to continue to grow this business, to bring more people into the family, to help everybody that the demand is out there to help buy a home. So hopefully that's an inspirational message for you guys. Tap into your spirit. Know that there's value in real estate, and definitely go after it. Follow that process. All right, I'm gonna do some more videos for you guys, and I hope you're doing well, and I wish you a blessed new year ahead. Take care.